And welcome back to the United Stand. Welcome to the Sunday night show, 8 p.m. It's been a while since I've done an 8 p.m. show and we've got a lot to get into. As you can see by the title is... What do you say? Oh, Sunday night show. It's not a Sunday night show. I meant an 8 p.m. show, not a Sunday night show, an 8 p.m. show. Yeah, welcome to the 8 p.m. show, guys. It is Wednesday. I keep getting the days wrong. You know, when I'm on the show, I just don't know where I am because I'm so excited to actually get into the news. And as you can see by the title and the thumbnail of this video, Glazers are demanding more from Manchester United, what that could mean, how it's going to play out. Is it actually ever going to get sold? It just feels like an ongoing process. And yeah, Marcus Rashford as well. You might have seen that news coming out surrounding Marcus Rashford's contract, and he's shut down some reports coming out on Twitter about him asking for a certain amount of money and what is actually going to happen with Marcus Rashford's contract coming towards the end of the season. And Erik ten Hag is ready to sell, ship off, get rid of many players at Manchester United to try and get some money for the summer, because financial fair play is going to be tough for Man United this summer. We've obviously got money to spend, but as many sales as we can get means more money for Erik ten Hag to spend. And the ownership situation, who even knows who's going to be in charge? But yeah, evening everybody. It is a Wednesday evening, and yeah, 8 p.m. on a Wednesday evening. Not done an 8 p.m. show in a very long time, so thank you for joining me. I mean, Mark's having his own fun in London at the United Stand tour, and you know, I think Ricky's there. I don't know if Faz has gone down there as well, but unfortunately, I mean, I missed the invite. I missed the memo after winning the United Stand quiz in the Manchester one and shutting down Mark and Ben Foster about De Gea. I missed the memo for the invite back to the London one. So we'll have our own fun tonight. We'll have our own fun. But good evening, everyone, and let's get into it. So we'll start off the show with the first bit of news that is coming out, which is why everyone's come to the video, because, I mean, if I saw that title and thumb, I'd be nervous as well. And I am nervous looking at this news. And it is coming from Cavi at Sky. I always get the mix taken out of me of how I say Cavi. They all say my Manchester accent's like Cavi from Sky. But yeah, Cavi from Sky has said, with the Washington Commanders receiving bids of around $6 billion, the Glazers could raise MUFC's asking price, as the club itself, through the money it makes, the name and the value, is thought to be bigger than the NFL franchise. So yeah, it's coming out basically that the Glazers have seen that the Washington Commanders, which is an NFL club, if anybody doesn't know, it's an NFL club, have received bids for $6 billion. And they're thinking, you know what, we're asking for £6 billion for Man United. Why don't we up that? If they're going to get $6 billion for that, we can up it, we can get more money. It's just a never-ending process. It is a never-ending process. And before we actually get into, you know, because people are going to come for me in the chat, they're going to say, Beth, but it's dollars compared to pounds. The exchange rate is different. The dollars and the pounds, it's completely different, you know. You know, that isn't the same amount of money. And I sat there and I looked at this news and I thought, yeah, I completely agree. Like, $6 billion is completely different to £6 billion because of, you know, how much money that is. The exchange rate is different. It's a different sum of money. The conversion rate's different. So I don't know what is actually going to be explained on this. I don't know if Sky Cavi is going to say anything else to do with this, but apparently the price of $6 billion has made the Glazers think we can up Manchester United's price. And, you know, when does this end, if I'm being honest with you? Because, you know, Sheikh Jassim could come in, because he's got, you know, we know how much money he's got. Sheikh Jassim could come in and say, look, we'll give you $6 billion now then. Oh no, sorry, Washington Commanders, they've had a $6 billion. And Sheikh Jassim's like, it's $6 billion, Joel. Avram, it's $6 billion, it's not £6 billion. You wanted £6 billion, I'm giving you it. Like, let's do this deal. And they could say, nope, we want $7 billion. And then, you know, that it just keeps going up and up and up, and it just gets ridiculous. And then they turn around and say, actually, sorry, we're not going to sell. We think it's worth more than this. We're just going to take the minority share, and that's how they're going to work it. I'm worried. If I'm being honest with you, I'm worried. I still think we're going to sell the club. I just think it's going to be a long process, especially if reports are coming out that they're going to up the price again. I mean, it's like, it's just so frustrating at this point. We need owners in for the summer, but they don't care about that. They just want to get the best possible price. I mean, if you said to the Glazers you can get an extra buddy 10,000 if you waited another month over the summer, they'd probably do it, knowing them. Like, they're just, you know, so money hungry, and it's frustrating because Man United fans just want this to be solved. And plus as well, everybody knows Man United isn't even worth anywhere close to $6 billion. Experts have come out and said it, so it's frustrating. And yeah, we've got some chats coming in. Make sure I see your chats in tonight. We're going to get really interactive. We've got some polls coming up as well, which I think you'll like, about what players we want to get rid of, how much Marcus Rashford, you know, what should his contract be. We're going to get into it all. So make sure you get your comments in if you want them read out. And Lilish United said Glazers want 7-8 billion, not 6. I mean, Romano did say on the show the other day that they want 7 billion. they could want 6 to 7 billion. And Jude Eswer says $6 billion is £5 billion. Everyone should work away. If 6 billion is rejected, they'll be forced out anyways. Daniel Hendy, it's a completely different market in the US, regardless of currency. They just want to create more demand and give a false price inflation. That won't change the real value, which is 4.5 billion. Yes, that is the real value of Manchester United. And IQ Insane says, Qataris are not stupid, Beth. I think they will walk. Yeah, they don't want to get ripped off. If the Qataris genuinely didn't care about how much they were spending, they just wanted to get Man United, they didn't care, they'd just go and, spend whatever, it would have already happened by now. We've seen the first bid they put in, I think was around 4 billion. They've upped it now, I think, to around 5 billion. We don't know the exact figures, but it's thought to be just over 5 billion. If they just wanted, Manchester United, and they wanted to get it done with, they would have just gone on the table, there you go, there's 6 billion, give me the club now. And just mark their authority, because they have the money to do so. But the business people at the end of the day, they are business people and they don't want to get ripped off. And they want to get the club for a reasonable price to what it's worth. They're already overpaying for it with the bids. If the bids they put in now, they're overpaying for it realistically. And Man United is a huge name, and obviously it's a huge club. So when I was talking to Thomas Ziliakis, he said, of course, you're always going to have to pay over the odds for Manchester United, just because of what it's worth and because of the value and because of the name. You're going to have to pay a big sum over the odds just to kind of get it into your hands and get the ownership of Manchester United, despite if it's worth 3.8 billion or 4.5 billion, whatever it's actually been fully valued at. But come on, 7 to 8 billion is just bloody ridiculous. It honestly is. It's absolutely ridiculous. So I'm just going to be interested to see whether this is actually like a scaremongering technique to the bidders to, negotiation tactics. We want more money. They're going to be like, oh, they're going to up the price again. We need to just bid and we need to just get this in. I don't know if it's a tactic to revert back, because they might take the minority share stake. So they're just going to say, sorry, we didn't get the money that we wanted, so we're going to take the minority share and we're going to, go about it that way. I don't know what the plan is, but it just seems very sinister. It seems very snide, and I don't like it. All I'm asking for is a little bit of honesty here. You said your price was 6 billion. Now apparently you're going to want to up it more because the Washington Commanders are receiving $6 billion bids. It's just focus on yourself. Like Manchester United, everybody knows what it's worth right now, and everybody knows that 6 billion would be a push, but they could potentially get that. You start upping it even more, people are going to start to walk away. And Felix Daniels, we as United supporters aren't doing enough to hasten this deal. We need to figure out a way to make sure the Glazers sell and sell quickly. Well, I think, speaking about that, because I actually want to talk about that a second. Obviously, I absolutely hate it, and hate's a strong word, actually. I really strongly dislike it when, rival fans or fans that are just non-Manchester United fans, the neutral fans, go on the radio, they go on the radios, they go on the TVs, they go on the media programmes, and they say, oh, you only ever Glazers out when, you're losing. You only ever Glazers out when you don't have, you don't get the signing you want, or the points aren't good, or you're getting beat. That is completely not true at all. How the Glazers got away with the January transfer window is because everybody thinks that they're selling the club. Like, if that was the January transfer window where they hadn't announced that they're selling the club, there would be protests left, right and centre. I mean, 2 loan signings for Manchester United in that January after everything Erik ten Hag's done was ridiculous, especially with how short we were, especially after Ronaldo left. It was ridiculous. But I feel like everyone just kind of took the foot off the gas when it came to the protest. Not the fans at the club, like the away fans and all the fans doing the stadium is brilliant. But when it regards to protests and stuff, it wasn't as we weren't protesting the way that it would have been. I feel like if they weren't selling, so. Because we know they're selling, we're all like, oh, they're selling, they're selling, that's the main thing, they're selling, that's the reason why they're not spending money, they're selling. We can deal with that, we just want them gone, we want them out of the club. It's every United fan's dream to get the Glazers out of this club, so we kind of put up with it. And now, this is happening, and and in the back of our heads, we're just like, oh, we just can't wait for them to sell, right, they're selling, like, we just want to get this sold, we just want to do it. But if the Glazers, and reports came out the other week that the Glazers aren't bothered about, reverting back on this, if they decide to take a minority stake and they decide not to sell and they decide to take the Elliott Group's investment or something like that, they're not worried about that. They're not worried. They've had bad fan perception for years. They're not worried. Well, they should be, because if they do that, and this isn't a threat, I'm not threatening. I'm just saying they should be, because I know Manchester United fans, if they didn't sell the club after this whole process, people would be overly distraught, majorly distraught, and overly distraught. No, they would be rightly overly distraught. They would be fuming, as we say, up north in Manchester. They would be absolutely fuming, and there's going to be protests left, right and centre. I mean, it's going to be insane, the amount of protests that there'll be if they decide not to do this. So it's their best interest that they do sell it. It's just going to be a very long process. I've said on the show many times before, obviously last week I was here, we were doing a couple morning shows together, you know, while Mark was over in Ireland, and I was saying I am in the 90% club. I said, you know, Mark should get his De Jong t-shirts out, repurpose, resell. 90% club. I do think the Glazers are going to sell this club. It's just going to be a huge process, and I think it's going to be it is going to be a long process, because they're going to try and drip every single penny they can possibly squeeze out of the club before they actually do so, if I'm being honest with you. Anyway, let's see what you guys are saying in the chats. I think they might, but process would be wild. The Honest Tiger says, if the Glazers stay, we all need to stop buying merchandise and tickets for the games. Well, I said on the show last week, the people I sit with at Old Trafford, I've been sitting with for quite a bit now, and, you know, some of them have been there for over 25 years. And I was speaking to my friend, and it was John, actually, my friend John, if he's watching, speaking to my friend John, and he was saying, Beth, I'm telling you now, the Glazers, you know, if they stay after all this, I'm going to give up my ticket, and I've been here for over 25 years. I went, no, John, I was like, John, you can't do that. I mean, obviously, like, we don't want him to stay, but, you know, we love coming to the games. That's what we love. Like, we love going to the games. We love following Manchester United. We love watching Manchester United. You can't give it up. You went, no, enough is enough. I'm giving it up. And that's how a lot of people will feel if the Glazers do decide to stay. Someone's always going to be there to take that seat, because, you know, Manchester United is just globally massive, and no matter what happens to it, it always will be. But the protests and the uproar, if the Glazers did end up staying, it would be ridiculous. I mean, and the fact that they want to up the price, it's just adding, like, for me, it's just like, oh God, that's another few weeks while we go through this whole Glazers, you know, maybe want to up the price process. And the thing that makes me think it's, like, quite real as well is well, I know it is real, because Cavi from Sky has said multiple times, like, the thing, like, he's been the one that's been on top of this whole ownership process. I've got to give him credit. He's been brilliant throughout this whole ownership process of Manchester United, and everything he says seems to be very true. So it's something that's definitely been leaked out there through Cavi, and $6 billion the Washington Commanders are receiving. Apparently the Glazers want to increase their price off the back of it. It's just all, you know, they'll find any reason, won't they? They'll find absolutely any reason to take more money and more joy from the fans, and, you know, just make things just difficult. They can never just be easy. It always has to be difficult with them. Oh, God, I'm getting frustrated. I'm getting frustrated, everyone. And Hav says, going for a minority stake investment of a value of $6 billion will only get them a maximum of $1.2 billion. Selling more than 20% of their 69% shares will leave them open to a hostile takeover. Interesting thought on that one. And Christian says, I'm sensing the Glazers raising the asking price will benefit United, because it will rule Jim out as he's struggling to give $5 billion, and Ziliakos will be out, which only leaves Qatar. I don't think you can say that them raising the asking price would benefit Man United. You can't say that. I understand if you want Qatar. I understand everybody's got different ownerships that they, you know, feel like would benefit Manchester United the most, but the Glazers raising the price, it doesn't, I don't think it helps us, because we need people that are in the race and wanting to buy Manchester United. It just, you know, I think all owners would be 10 times better than what the Glazers would be. All options that are on the table. And, you know, Qatar, like we said before, aren't stupid. They're not going to just be like, yeah, you know, here's $7 billion. We have Man United now. I doubt they're going to do that. Anyway, you know, they might do. They might do. Who am I to say? I don't know what the plans are. But from the way they've acted so far, they seem quite disciplined in the way that they want to act about this. So it's going to be a journey. I mean, we've talked about this. We've had the Sancho saga. That was a long process. We had the De Jong saga, that felt, honestly, so draining. And now we've got the ownership saga, which is probably the best out of the three, because you know at the end of it, hopefully, like, fingers crossed, 90%, that the Glazers, you know, will end up leaving Manchester United for good, and they'll be gone from the football club, and that will be an amazing day for every fan of Manchester United that there is. It'll be unreal that day. I mean, when it's finally, here we go, you know, the Glazers have sold Manchester United. They no longer have any, you know, any connection to Manchester United at all. huge day for Man United fans, and that's what keeps you know going on this process. But the longer it goes on and the more twists and turns, you start doubting things, and you know it's worrying. But I'm just hoping. I'm trying to be positive. I think this will get done. I think it'll get done before the summer. I used to think, yeah, it will. You know, Qatar were really confident they could get this done quickly, but when the Glazers are kind of at the helm of it, it's never going to go smoothly. Let's just put it that way. Anyway, Glenny Boy says, can you imagine the protest on the Glazers' doorstep in America during the pre-season tour if the Glazers don't sell by the summer tour? I mean, they'll get you know have you seen them videos where they get hounded by the paparazzi for they get asked questions, you know, in America, and I think they live in Florida or something like that. They'll get hounded, they'll get absolutely hounded, but at the end of the day they're making money. They've been hounded for years. Does it bother them? They just don't look bothered. I mean, they know what the fans think of them. What they care about is the money. Well, that's what they care about, sadly, and that's the way it is. Do they even know they would be public enemy number one? They know. I don't know if they know how big it would be, because I think the fans haven't given them a let off, but they've been less, hell-bent in protests over the last 6 months, I think it is, since they announced that they were going to sell. So maybe they're not stupid people. They know they are public enemy number one. They know that how the fans' feelings towards them. But I just think they care about their own back pocket more, which they have done for years right now. And, they live in America. They never come over here. They only come when it suits. They came to watch us lift a trophy, which they probably didn't even have any idea how we even got there. They probably didn't even know what teams had played on the run-up to it. They probably didn't even know they couldn't even probably name what Man United's starting 11 most likely would be. They don't know they don't care. What they care about is the money that they're receiving. And, people know that by now. But anyway, that's the ownership update for you all on this Wednesday evening. Take of that what you will, and we'll probably have more updates throughout the week as well. As the news keeps coming, we'll give it to you. And finally, Nobi says, it's shocking how these leeches got their paws on the club in reality. Well, the takeover that they did that won't ever be able to happen again, unless the laws change back. But you could never leverage a buyout the way that they did now, thankfully, to other clubs. Because I wouldn't want to see other clubs go through that. I really wouldn't. It's horrible. But once they're gone, they'll be gone, thankfully. And, they've earned ridiculous sums of money off this club, ridiculous sums. And they'll be walking away thinking that was probably the best business deal, of the decade for them. In business, really. I'm not saying it's the best business deal of the decade, but it could be up there. Like, the amount of money that they will end up making off Man United is insane. But I can't wait for them to be gone, if I'm being honest with you. Andy and Bruno, my German Shepherd, thank you for putting your chat in. Beth, financially, only Qatar bid is debt-free that we publicly know of. It would actually be faster process if Qatar was the only bid. Yeah, but it probably... I get what you're coming from, but what if the Glazers just say no? What if they just say no? But then at the same time, they wouldn't be battling against Sir Jim. The Glazers are probably trying to rally up, a bidding war. I get where you're coming from on that. I get where you're coming from. I just don't want to have only just one option in case it fails. You know what they say, you need plan A, B, C. Like, plan A sometimes doesn't always go to plan, and if it didn't, what's the backup? Glazers staying with Elliott management, no thank you. Anyway, let's move on to the next bit of the show, because, we've spent a little bit of time on that now, and that is the news, really. We've kind of got into a diversion to, the Glazers and the fans' relationship and stuff like that, but that is the update on that part of the show. What I want to move into next is Marcus Rashford. And Marcus Rashford, if you've been on social media within the last couple of hours, you would have seen that he shut down reports regarding the amount of money that him and his team wanted to get in his new contract for Manchester United. And, we'll start off with actually, the plans with Marcus Rashford, and it's coming from Rob Dawson at the ESPN, saying that MUFC are planning to step up contract talks with Marcus Rashford before the end of the season. And he goes on to say that sources close to Marcus Rashford insist that he is focused on having a successful end to the season, but that representatives expect to progress with negotiations before the end of the campaign. And on the back of that, with Marcus Rashford, there was an article coming out from, I think it was the Daily Star, that was basically claiming that Marcus Rashford and his representatives were trying to get 500 grand a week off Man United in his next contract for the club. First of all, I mean, we'll put it out straight away, straight and foremost. I know we've got a full screen graphic for this. This is what Marcus Rashford had to say surrounding that article. He basically called it out and said it's rubbish, it's not true. And Marcus Rashford has done this more frequently as of late. He calls it out when it's not true, and he's put it out there. He said just before this one starts to do the rounds, it's complete nonsense. The club and myself have been respectful to one another, and that's how it will remain. My focus is in purely finishing the season as well as possible and in the league and winning trophies. And that's exactly what, I love to hear that from Rashford. You can tell he's fully focused on Man United till the end of the season. You can tell he's focused on winning trophies. I mean, he pulled out the England camp when previously he's gone with a knock because he wants to focus on Man United, and rightly so. The fact he got called out for that by Southgate was an absolute disgrace, especially considering Rashford's gone to the Euros with that and delayed his surgery just to be there, and you've not even played him. In the World Cup, you bring Sterling off the bench instead of Rashford when you need a last-minute winner, when we know how dangerous Rashford is. I mean, he's so dangerous in and around the penalty box, especially running at speed when defenders are tired. So, I mean, you can tell Rashford is focused. And all I would say on this is, to be honest with you, I don't blame Rashford and his team. And I know he said it's not true, but I wouldn't blame him and his team for trying to get the best money that they could potentially get, on his last contract. Not his last contract, sorry, on his next contract. I hope it's not his last contract anyway, on his next contract, because realistically, goals, they can win you games. Rashford has been our main source of goals this season. He's our talisman, he's our main guy. He's honestly been unbelievable this season, and he deserves it to be reflected in his contract. 500 grand a week is way too much. It is way too much, obviously. But they are going to try and get the best for the client. That's just the way business works. And if you look at Manchester United, he is one of the most valuable players at Manchester United right now. He's scoring goals. He's winning us games. He's Erik ten Hag's one of his star players. Erik ten Hag loves him. He wants to keep him. Rashford, he's Manchester born and bred through the academy. He loves Man United. He wants to stay at Man United. The fans love him. He's like a global figure. His social media presence is excellent. He's just, he's like the star boy, as you would say. So, and he's putting up numbers on the pitch now, and he's proven it on the pitch as well. He obviously had that little dip, but he's come back, and he's one of the best players in the league. So he deserves a good contract. He 100% deserves a good contract. But for me personally, I think 300k a week is very, very good money, and that's where you draw the line and call it a day. 300 grand a week, I think, is what Rashford should be on. I think he's on around 200 now. 300 grand a week for his prime years at Man United, I think is a very, very good deal for the way the world is right now. But I want to get your opinions, everyone. We'll get a poll on this, and the poll can be, Marcus Rashford, how much do you think Man United should offer him in his new contract? And it could be from 200 grand to 300 grand a week, 300 grand a week, or 300 plus grand a week, because I think he's on around 200 at the moment. So he's going to want more than he's currently on. I'm actually going to see how much Rashford's currently on right now. I think it's around 200 grand a week. How much does Marcus Rashford earn a week? Yeah, right. Oh, right now it's, wait. Yeah, he's on $247 a week, it says. What's that in pounds? $247 in pounds. It's 200 grand a week. It's 200 grand a week. I was right. So let's see what you guys say. The poll is coming in just in time. How much should Rashford earn? 250k a week, 250 to 300k, or 300k plus a week? I'm going to put my answer in. We'll see what you guys say on the thing. But I honestly think 250 to around 300 grand a week. 300 grand a week, you call it a day. That is obviously it's a brilliant sum of money for Rashford, and I think he's definitely proved on the pitch that he's worth an increase on his contract, and he is one of the main people for Man United. And you look at what players are earning right now. I think David De Gea is the highest paid player now. Ronaldo's gone on 375 grand a week. We know that's being cut. That's being cut down. He won't earn 375 grand a week from his next contract. He just won't. And I think Sancho's on around 280. Is it a week? And Martial's on 250, and Rashford needs to be reflected in his pay. What he's worth to the club. So I think 300 grand a week for your best performing player, one of your best performing players, is definitely the right route to go down. But let's see what you guys are thinking in the chat. Yep, 56% of you at the moment are saying 250 to 300k a week, and 32 250, and 12% 300 plus. Quite split there then. It is quite split there, but 250 to 300 is is about right. A lot of people asking me, how much does Casemiro get paid a week? Is there any chance we could find out how much Casemiro gets paid a week? And I can, have a look and compare the two. But yeah, Rashford for me, focus on the end of the season. It's exactly what you want to hear. It's exactly what you want. And the guy is honestly, he's doing so well this season. We don't need any negative news stories flying around. And interestingly enough, Casemiro's on 300 grand a week. Casemiro's on 300 grand a week. So when you put that into perspective, is he, is Rashford worth 300 grand a week? Is he on the same level as Casemiro? I've just been told, God, really? I've just been told Sancho's on 350 grand a week. Is Sancho like our second highest most paid player then? Apparently Sancho's on 350 grand a week, our second highest paid player. Wow. Who the hell did that? Seriously, who the hell did that? Sancho's a good talent, but 350 grand a week is silly. It's honestly silly. He should have come in on around 200. Even less, potentially. I mean, probably around 200 because he's proved it in Europe and stuff. Rashford's on 200. He should have come in at 200, but 350 grand a week. I mean, see, Rashford can say, I want 350 because Sancho's on that. And look at our numbers. Look who's bringing it to the team. These are negotiation tactics. Like, I'm sorry, but if Sancho's getting paid 350 grand a week, by the same principle, Rashford should be on like 380, if not even more, because he's worth more to the team than what Sancho is right now. So by that logic, he should be getting more than 300 grand a week. But then Casemiro's on 300 grand a week. He's probably the best player we have at the team, the most experienced, won the most. So then it's going to Rashford really shouldn't earn more than him. He should be on around the same, if not a little bit less. So it's interesting. And obviously forward players always tend to, earn very good money because, goals, they were really, really appreciated in football. Paul Song has just gifted a super chat. Thank you very much for that. And Pathetic Hermetic says, cap it 300 grand a week. Sancho is max 175k a week player. A lot of people shocked that Sancho is on 350 grand a week. He needs a pay cut. A lot of people going saying Sancho hasn't done anything to earn the 350 grand a week. Sancho's going to try and get the best that he can possibly get out of his contract at Man United. To be fair to him, he was lighting up Europe before he came into United. Obviously, we've seen his numbers in the Bundesliga and the Champions League. I think he had one of the most goal contributions in Europe. He was brilliant. So I get why his agent obviously fought for a high wage for him, but 350 grand is insane. Absolutely insane. I'm surprised United agreed to that. I really, really am. He should be on 200 in my opinion, and Rashford should be on 300. 280 to 300 anyway. Leroy talks football. Hi Beth, why do you think Glazers not selling quickly? It is a pain in the bottom because Erik ten Hag needs players. Yeah, right, I tell you now, he's not, like the Glazers are not bothered what players ten Hag gets in the summer. They're not bothered about when the players come in. They're not bothered what the fans think. They're not bothered. As long as they get as much as they can possibly get for selling the club, they're not bothered. So we can talk about it as much as we like on this. We can talk about, how the fact we don't know what we're doing in the summer and we don't know what the plan is. But at the end of the day, the Glazers don't care as long as they get the most money possible for the club. And that's business at the end of the day. Daniel Lee, it's sad, but that's business to them. It's sad, but it's business. Daniel Lee, member for 10 months, probably was Woodward. Was Woodward still here at that point? I think he was. Philip Owen, $6 billion is 4.87 billion pounds. So why are you upset? Second bids are already higher than that. Watch your blood pressure, Beth. And the reason why I'm upset, because I said obviously the conversion rate's very different when you're talking of this sum of money. So that conversion, £4.8 billion, sounds about right for $6 billion. But what I was worried about is the report from Cavi from Sky was saying that the $6 billion, I explained this, the $6 billion bids for the Washington Commanders has made the Glazers think of upping their asking price. We know the Glazers' asking price is £6 billion. I don't know where the correlation is. I agree with you. It is weird, the correlation, but somehow they've pulled that from somewhere. I don't know how. Jones on 75k a week, someone said. I swear Brandon Williams is on 70 grand a week. Like, come on. I mean, I wonder how much, 65 grand a week Brandon Williams is on. I bet you could name so many Premier League players that are on less than that are like star players within the Premier League. I honestly bet you could. And yes, ooh, 350k. Oh no, that's not right. That's not right. I don't think. Yeah, a few chats saying that if it gets to over 300k, you should sell him. No, you can't. Oh, right. Here's one. You can't sell Rashford, by the way. He's Erik ten Hag's golden boy. Like, Erik ten Hag loves him. He's been brilliant this year. He's Mancunian born and bred. I think he's a brilliant player. He's got so much potential. He's been amazing this year. You can't sell Rashford. You just can't. The thought of him going to PSG honestly knocks me sick. I wouldn't want him to leave Man United. I love him. I mean, the Rashford is Red song. I'm in there. I'm in Old Trafford. I'm singing it. I love Rashford. I don't want him to go. I think 300k, he would take it. I doubt he would want to go either. I really doubt he would want to. He's got such a good fan base at Man United. The majority of the fans love him. He's a really good role model for younger fans coming up. His football's great. He's comfortable. He's come through the academy. The manager loves him. Man United are on a great path now with Erik ten Hag to go on to winning things. He's just won, the first trophy available under Erik ten Hag. He's won it, and he got a winning goal in that final. I just think he wants to stay United, and I think the fans want him to stay. And I think a deal will be met at around 300 grand a week. I honestly do, and I think he deserves it. If I'm being honest with you, when you look at what the other, what the wage structure actually is like at Manchester United. I know we're going to cap it around 300 grand a week, but if, one of our top players should be on the top amount of money, and that is around 300 grand a week, so he should get paid it, in my opinion. And I've just had some news come through to me that, it's not anything breaking, but, right, you know how I said Brandon Williams is on 65 grand a week? Bukayo Saka is on 70 grand a week. And I know he's about to sign a new contract, so it's going to go up, and he's probably going to get offered quite a lot more. But Bukayo Saka is on 5 grand more a week than Brandon Williams. Let that just sink in. Aaron Ramsdale have just been told he's on 61 grand a week. Brandon Williams is on more than Aaron Ramsdale. Trossard's on 45 grand a week. I can't even cope. Desmond Short says, remember when Sancho signed, he was hardly played, and when played, poorly coached. Yeah, it was a weird one with Sancho when he first came in. Ollie wanted him for so long and then just didn't use him when he first came in, which I thought was weird. But honestly, I still really believe in Sancho. I don't know if that's me being naive and just wanting it to work out, but I do believe in him. But if he can't do it under Erik ten Hag, maybe he's just not meant for the Premier League. But I believe in him. I think Erik ten Hag is doing everything he can to try and get the best out of this player. He's moved into 10. He's moved Bruno out of his position. He's played him in different roles. He's given him time off to work away. He's sent him away with coaches. I think he's really, really doing his best to get the best out of Jadon Sancho. I think ten Hag believes in him. For me, Jadon Sancho just needs to believe in himself and, go onto the pitch and actually look like you want to be there and play with some grit, some determination, and fight for your place in Man United's team. Fight for it. And that's what I would say. But I think next season is make or break for Sancho, if I'm being honest. The end of this season, I just want to see how it plays out with him. I'm not going to be hard on him or anything. I'm just going to... And a player getting paid 350 grand a week that you bought in for 73 million, you should be expecting, you expect week in, week out, very good performances at a top level in Man United's first team, week in, week out. You expect that. But because of everything that's happened, I won't be going hard on him. I'll just be hoping he can, do what we brought him in to do. But next season is when I really start to look at Sancho, and I think the manager probably will as well, and the fans, and think, is this going to work out? And I think next season is Sancho's season. I think this season we've just got to let him, nurture his way into the team and adapt and try and start playing some confident football and some good football, because he's had some really good cameos, he has done, but you need more. You do need more. Anyway. Someone before said I was drinking really loud, so I tried to do it more quietly then. Let's move on to the next bit of the show, and that is that Erik ten Hag is willing to get rid of players in order to get players in the summer. And it's coming from Rob Dawson as the ESPN. Clubs from the Premier League and other European leagues are interested in Scott McTominay. That would be Newcastle predominantly. Harry Maguire, Victor Lindelof and Dean Henderson. So the usual suspects coming up in, discussion there. We all know them players are up to potentially leave Manchester United in the summer. And Rob Dawson also said that MUFC are ready to listen to offers for a number of senior players in order to increase the summer budget, as well as navigating financial fair play constraints. So again, Erik ten Hag's not messing about. If he doesn't see you as part of his future, he's going to want to get rid. He's going to want to get some money in the bank to spend this summer. Fair play. And do you know what? What Erik ten Hag has done, he's actually made, you know, potential deadwood at the club become sellable, like really sellable as well. We've not sold players for profit in so long, or not even profit, but just we've been struggling to even sell them. Half the time we've had to get them out on loan and pay half the wages. Like, we've really struggled. Erik ten Hag, and the way he's brought players on and included a lot of people in this squad and this team, he's made a lot of players more sellable. So that's really good news, because hopefully we'll make some money out of it, and we'll get onto that in a second. But a super chat in from Leo J. Sancho would be better if he had a proper 9 up front. I've been saying that for so long, Leo J. I agree with you. I think Sancho with like an Osimhen or a Kane or something up front would flourish. I really do. We need someone who's going to be his target man. And yeah, a lot of people in the chat saying keep Lindelof. Well, let's go through it. I mean, we'll start off with the Scott McTominay, Harry Maguire, Victor Lindelof and Dean Henderson. I'm going to start off with Scott McTominay, and we'll do these really quick rounds. Sell or keep Scott McTominay? Ricky's at the London show, so he can't be on his accounts right now trying to skew the polling. But let's get the first one into the chat, because I really and think about how much money we could get for them as well. And I think Scott McTominay, it's around 30 million. We've already discussed that's how much we could get for Scott McTominay. So Scott McTominay, keep or sell. And Prince Poker says, if the Glazers sell, what's our next option, Beth? Let's see this. We'll give you about a minute on the poll to see what it is. Oh, I can already see it's an absolute landslide. An absolute landslide. Yeah, so that's going to be sell Scott McTominay for 90% to 10%. It's 91% to 10%. It's going to be sell Scott McTominay. That's what people want to do. So I've just put 30 mil in the bank there for us. Next one is, I mean, I won't even do a poll. I'll just look at what the chat's saying, because I think it's going to be a landslide again. Harry Maguire, sell or keep? Sell or keep Harry Maguire? Snowcal, member for 10 months from the US. Glazers have ruined their NFL team. They only got lucky with having Tom Brady win the Super Bowl. Now their team is in the mud. Well, you know what the Glazers are like. You know, I would suggest that they would invest probably more in the NFL team anyway. I don't know the specifics of it, because obviously they're Americans. They're probably more into the NFL than they are into football. So maybe they invested more into that, and, you know, with the signing of Tom Brady. But I can imagine them being very poor owners if it's anything to go by of how they've gone with Manchester United. So on Harry Maguire, it is sell. How much money do you think we could get for Maguire as well? Get that in the chat, because I'm going to make a kind of little tally here, because I think with Maguire, I think 35 max. 35 mil. If I'm being honest with you, I don't see him going for any more than that, like, at all. I just don't see it. So 40 mil, people saying 50, not a chance. Not a chance of 50. Do you know what? A lot of people are putting 40, 45. I said 30, if I'm being honest, 35 mil. So, you know what? I'll go with 40. I'll up it to 40. Maybe we can work some magic. I mean, if Southgate was actually a manager at a team, at a club, we'd be onto a winner, wouldn't we? Be onto an absolute winner. It's a shame that he is the England manager. It really is a shame. It is a shame, but it's a shame that obviously, you know, he's not a manager of the club, or else, you know, Maguire would be off. We'll probably get our 80 million back for him. But yeah, so that's a sell. And this one, I actually do want to do a poll on this one, because I think it's going to be quite split. And the next one is Victor Lindelof, keep or sell? I think this is going to be a split decision, because some people think he's not good enough. Some people, you know, think he should stay as a squad player. Lindelof wants to, you know, go out there. He wants to play first team football. You've got to give the guy credit for that. You've got to give him credit. So Victor Lindelof, keep or sell? Get that going in the chat. I'm going to make my vote. Oof, it's not as close as I expected. So we're going keep for Victor Lindelof at the moment. I'll give you all like just a little bit, you know, to get on the votes, get it up to at least 500 votes on that. And yes, keep good squad player. Keep if we can't get anything better in the door. Sell Maguire, provoke the youth. Lindelof, sell. Better than the fridge. See, yeah, it is a little bit. I thought it'd be more 50-50, but 70% keep on Victor Lindelof, 30% sell. So I'm going to go with a keep for Victor Lindelof, so no money gained that way. And that means we don't have to buy 2 centre-backs. We only have to buy 1, you know, if Maguire goes and Lindelof stays. Unfortunately, I think it might be the other way around, you know. I think Lindelof is probably going to go and Maguire's going to stay. I can just see it happening. Unfortunately for us. I mean, I'd rather have Lindelof every day of the week over Maguire, but, you know, it's not our decision at the end of the day. It just depends what happens. It seems like Lindelof's quite ambitious and he wants to go and play first team football from his interview on the international break. As Ben Foster was saying, internationals use it players use it all the time, the international break, to get stuff out there to do with the summer windows. So, you know, we'll have to wait and see. Next one, I don't even need to put the chat out. I'm pretty sure I'll just ask you. You don't need a poll. I'll just ask you, Dean Henderson, keep or sell? And also, how much money do you think you can get from Dean Henderson? A lot of rumours that Spurs are interested. I think that would be a great move, if I'm being honest, and we'd probably get a decent amount of money out of it, especially if we're going, maybe if we go for Harry Kane, there could be some sort of, you know, deal struck between that. Sell, all coming on. Do you remember when everyone thought I was like, you know, a massive Henderson advocate? I think Henderson's a good goalkeeper, but I was never saying he could be potentially the future, like, you know, he's the be-all and end-all. I think he's a good keeper. I think he should have been given more of a chance, but people were really on me for that one. Sell. Everyone's saying 20 mil. I reckon we could get more. I reckon you can get 30 mil for Dean Henderson. Obviously, his wages are a lot. And yes, we've got a tweet coming in, some news coming in now from Rob Dawson at ESPN. MUFC need to sell to boost their budget for this summer's transfer window, and any reasonable offer for Harry Maguire will be considered, even more so if Erik ten Hag revisits a potential deal for Jurrien Timber. That is music to my ears, honestly. That is, you know, milk in my coffee. It's brilliant. It's honestly brilliant news, because I just said I don't think Maguire will leave, but Rob Dawson, who's been very good recently, and he's been good for a while, has reported that Erik ten Hag, if he gets a decent bid in for Maguire, he'll sell him because he wants to potentially go back in for Jurrien Timber, which would be, yeah, it'd be great. It'd honestly be great. The only thing is, I don't think Timber and Martinez can play together. Some people might disagree with me. I don't think they can. Maybe my Jamie Carragher moment at the end of next season, you know, I get proved wrong, but I don't think Timber and Martinez can play together, and realistically we need more of a backup for Varane than we do for Martinez. We need, you know, I think Martinez and Varane are so compatible and they suit so well as that centre-back pairing. It is all about the pairing. I just think two short defenders could be a struggle in certain games, I really do. But I do like Timber. I think he's a great profile, can play right back, can play centre-back. I just don't know if he wouldn't be my first choice. I'd be more there for like a Kim Min-jae. And that Monaco player, I can't remember his name. He looked quite good as well. But yeah. So I think it was Disasi. Am I saying that right? Disasi. But yeah, I would be more in for definitely Kim Min-jae would be my first option. But you know, Timber is a good player. But we got sidetracked then. But some good news to bring. And when I watched Timber as well for the Netherlands, he's a good player, but I think Martinez is better. I think we got the right player from that, if I'm being honest with you. I think Martinez is the better player. And I'm going to go anyway. I'm going to go with Henderson. We all said sell him. I'm going to go 30 mil because I think we can get 30 mil for Dean Henderson, if I'm being honest with you. He's a good keeper and he was doing well at Forest before his injury as well. More news coming out and some more names we can get in there for you. And it is coming from Rob Dawson again. I mean, someone give Rob Dawson some credit for tonight's show. He's honestly funding it, isn't he? He's bringing us all the news for tonight's show. And it is that Eric Bailly and Alex Telles will be allowed to leave on permanent deals. Anthony Elanga and Brandon Williams will likely be made available for a loan. Phil Jones and Axel Tuanzebe are expected to leave on a free this summer. Phil Jones will finally believe in Manchester United Football Club. It feels like, you know, a really, really long marathon, and halfway through you realise, you know, you've not trained, you're unfit, you're really trying to, you know, it's painful towards the end, and you're just trying to get through it. And sorry, that's really mean towards Phil Jones, isn't it? It's not like done anything wrong for us. Also, can we all just kind of remember when Rangnick brought him out of retirement for like one game against Liverpool? He looked absolutely dead beat, and then we never saw him again. So yeah, that was harsh. He completely threw him under the bus in that game. Jesus, Rangnick, some of the games in that era. Honestly, it was depressing. But no, with Phil Jones, he's a legend, really. On the United stand, anyway, he's a legend. We'll always have the pink boot story. He just, you know, he won a Premier League with United, and not that many players can say they've won a Premier League with United. So fair play to him. He took the money, and he thought at one point, you know, he took the money and that was it. He didn't really have any ambition to leave. Didn't want to cut his contracts because he could have. He could have left and cut his contracts. Why would he though? It's money for his future with his family, and he took the bag. And you know, it is what it is. Phil Jones will be missed. Well, he won't be missed, but the memes will be missed. I mean, there'll still be a lot floating around, I'm sure. And someone said, No, Sally just put in the chat, Jones will probably get injured going out the doors at Old Trafford. Don't even. And yeah, so on that, we've got a few names. Alex Telles and Eric Bailly. We both know, I think everyone in the chat can agree that they'll both be going. Alex Telles, I'm going to say 10 million max maybe? 10 mil. And then Eric Bailly, I'm also going to say 10 mil max. I'm going to go maybe 8 mil. How much should we pay for Alex Telles? Like 12 mil. I'm going to go 8 mil, you know. I'm going to go 8 mil for both. Don't think we'll get that much for him, if I'm being honest with you, because one, Eric Bailly's injury prone, really injury prone, and Telles, obviously, you know, he's not really lived up to the potential that I thought he would have, and I think he's like 29, 30 now. And Robert McCormack's literally at the United stand right now. Robert, I hope you're having a good time, but, you know, and yeah, I hope you're having a good time. But maybe focus on the show a little bit more. Maybe it's the halftime interval at this point. I think, it is. It's a halftime interval, 45 minutes in. It's a halftime interval. Welcome to this show. And thank you for supporting the United stand. We really appreciate it. So thank you for that. And yeah, everyone's saying like 8 mil. So I'm going to put 8 mil on top of them for that. And then, we're going to have some Beth Mattics coming up soon. If anyone remembers Beth Mattics from That's Football World Cup, it was a good time. Maybe some of you didn't watch it, but I remember it. And then we've got Elanga and Williams likely to be made available for loan. Robert McCormack only came to see you, Beth. Robert, that's so cute. Thank you for that. I'm sad I'm not in London, but, you know, you can see me on this show, on the screen, in person. It's not the same, but at least it's something. And then, yeah, so Elanga, I want to get a polling now. Loan or sell? Because it says it says here that we want to loan him out. Would you loan or sell Elanga? I want to get everyone's thoughts on that. And Brandon Williams, that should be a sell. It shouldn't be a loan. It should just be a sell. We know what the future is of Brandon Williams now. Like, you know, he's not going to, I doubt he's going to be a Man United first teamer. I really doubt it. So why bother doing another loan for him? Why bother? Just get rid, sell. I mean, I had such high hopes for Brandon Williams when he first came in as well. I really liked the look of him. He just seemed to have tailed off massively. A lot of people saying sell on Elanga. You don't even want to give the guy a chance at a loan. You never know. Did his goal for Sweden not persuade you? You know, Elanga, he strikes me as a guy that does all the right things. He trains well. I want him to do well. Maybe he got the song, obviously, the Anthony Elanga song, which is a bit of a banger. And it just kind of, he just weren't ready, you know. He's just not ready to be a Man United first teamer. But I don't think that means he's completely written off. I would like to see him on loan, if I'm being honest, for like one season and then see what he's about. Brandon Williams, definitely sell. So there's the structure on that. And then, you know, I think apart from that, I think they're only the realistic sells we're going to get. You look at, you know, Donny van der Beek, he's been injured. I doubt he'll go. Martial, I doubt he'll go because he's on too much money. No one's going to buy him. So at this moment, we have 30 mil for, who was the first one we had? 30 mil for Scott McTominay, 40 mil for Maguire, which I think is a bit of a stretch, 30 mil for Dean Henderson, 8 mil for Bailly, 8 mil for Telles. So let's try and do this in my head. So 30 plus 40 mil is 70, plus another 30 is 100 mil, and then 8 plus 8 is 16. So that's 116 million in sales we could have. And that's me trying to be realistic, if I'm being honest with you. I'm not going to add anything else in because you know what we're like at selling players. I think that would be a really good day. 116 million on sales. Wow. That'd be great. And, you know, my brain was working today for a bit of maths. To be fair, that was easy. But 116 million, when you're looking, you know, we're looking at an Osimhen or a Kane. For starters, I think Kane, you don't pay over 100 mil, especially with the year left on his deal at 30 years old. So that's just Kane bought, if we went for Kane. If it's an Osimhen, I reckon 120, 125 mil. That's like, you know, 100 mil put towards Osimhen, then 20 to 25 mil. You've got a good deal then. You've shifted a lot of players off the books that you don't need replacing or realistically are just not good enough. The only person that I need replacing there is the centre-back, and that's only for, you know, other options. Only other options. So you need to replace the centre-back. But apart from that, we're all good, if I'm being honest with you. And obviously Scott McTominay needs to bring in another midfielder as well, but we're already planning on doing that anyway. So yeah, I mean, interesting. And Robin says trade Telles and Bailly for Felix to lower the fee. I would love that, but it's not. We're not on Football Manager right now. We're not on FIFA. It's just not going to happen that way. But you know, and I don't think we'll go for Felix, even though I think Felix is unbelievable, as I was saying on lunchtime. I just don't think it's the type of player we're going to be going for. And lastly, just to wrap up the show, a little bit of news that I saw floating around. It's a little bit old now, but I wanted to bring it up. Ben Jacobs saying that Manchester United, Chelsea and Tottenham are among clubs monitoring Brighton wonderkid Evan Ferguson. So again, for me, that's Tottenham because Harry Kane might leave. They need a replacement. It's obvious why they'd be scouting Evan Ferguson. He looks like he's going to be a really good Premier League striker. So I get why they're scouting him. Chelsea, they need a striker. Kai Havertz isn't a striker, in my opinion. I think he's a decent player. He's not a striker. And Nkunku, they're bringing in Nkunku, but is he really an out-and-out number 9? No. So they would like to get a number 9 in. I understand it. And then Man United, obviously, we should be looking at him because we need depth in our number 9 position, and Evan Ferguson looks like a great up-and-coming talent. But look, that is the end of the show, people. One last super chat, actually, before we go. United All The Way says, we need to start doing business like Benfica. They've made over $300 million from Felix, Enzo and Nunes. Despite doing that, they are dominating their league and they have a decent shot at winning the Champions League. We're just not that type of team. We just aren't going to be that type of team. I mean, I think the news coming out about Qatar making potentially, was it making Braga our like feeder club. That could be a way of, making some money. But, we do need to sell more players. Like, the likes of, Liverpool have sold Coutinho and Sterling over the years. Chelsea have sold Hazard. Like, we don't sell players. We do need to sell more. But as a top club at Man United, like, them sort of players we keep. Like, if we had a Felix and Enzo and a Nunes, we wouldn't be selling them for 300 mil. We'd be keeping them because, we're a club that wants to compete. Benfica have kind of their role in the footballing world that they take on. They obviously want to make money and stay afloat and everything like that. But the fact they're still competing on all fronts and competing in the Champions League is brilliant. I can't fault them. The business that they do is amazing, honestly. But yeah, we're not a Benfica or an Ajax. We're a Man United, and we're not going to be selling players that are that good. We're going to be keeping them, but I do think we do need to definitely sell better and make better money. But thank you everyone for tuning in and watching the 8 PM show with me. It's not a Sunday, it is a Wednesday, and yeah, I'm sure you've all had a lovely day. Try not to get the news about the Glazers get you down. Hopefully we're all on this journey together at the end of the day, and that day when the Glazers do finally sell up is going to be a good day for everyone. But look everyone, as always, make sure you hit a like on the video. I really appreciate it. Make sure you subscribe to the channel if you've not already, and catch us tomorrow at 10 AM. Unless there's something magically breaking, catch us tomorrow at 10 AM on the United Stand. But look everyone, get your comments in as usual. Thank you for watching. I'll see you on the next one.